Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this week for another great episode. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for helping us grow by sharing, liking, and subscribing our podcast on our social media accounts, as well as on YouTube and our social media platforms. I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about what's been occurring in the last couple of weeks. So I took the last couple of weeks off from sharing my own content for this podcast and on the blog, because I wanted to give space for the voices of the Black community, of protesters, of people becoming allies, or the knowledge that is being shared around how to be anti-racist or how to educate yourself to be an anti-racist. What is systemic racism and how does this affect not just Black communities but all of us? Because if we empower and we encourage and we stop racism and we take the steps to become anti-racists, how can we actually empower the world as a whole? So empowering the Black communities, supporting the Black communities, and understanding that Black lives do truly matter, not only is beneficial for the Black community, but for all of us as a world, because we're all humankind and we all need to be there for one another no matter what. And race is not something that should divide us. It's not something that should separate us, and it should not be systemically causing inequities at all across all levels. So I did spend last week sharing knowledge and reposting stories and content that was shared by other people around this movement, but I wanted to be able to give that space. So I am going to try over the next couple of weeks, because this conversation should not end. It should continue no matter what. I do want to give space for anyone that has anything they want to share to connect with me at info@howdidyoulearntodo.com, or send me a message on Instagram at howdidyoulearntodo, and let me know, because I'm happy to have us do a live on Instagram where you can share your information. I'm happy to send me your content and I can share it for you. I have a small platform, but I want to use it to share your voices, your content, your information. So please connect with me if you have anything you want to share, or even if you want to come on as a podcast guest. I'm also happy to record with you and have you on our guest to share your story and to help us educate and to share knowledge around how systemic racism works and how to become an anti-racist. And so with that, I do want to thank our guest for this week, Athenas Angulo. She graciously agreed to be on this podcast with me this week. She's going to be talking about how, as a mompreneur, she had the courage to move from Mexico to Canada and create a life for herself and manifest the life that she always wanted for herself, and is now living that life she wished existed many years ago for herself. So I'm excited for you guys to hear her story, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, hi everyone. So I'd like to welcome Athenas Angulo, who is a mother, a blogger, a marketer, influencer, and a health and wellness advocate. She has worked with well-known brands like Disney, Four Seasons, Mattel, and Amazon, just to name a few. In the last 2 years, Athenas has grown her audience to over 25,000 followers and was named one of the top 30 Vancouver mom bloggers. Her mission is to inspire women to take action into their dreams and help them to grow their online presence. So thank you, Athenas, for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Athenas has an amazing and inspirational story that she'll share with you all. And I will link her Instagram as well as her website and her Facebook on the podcast link show notes, as well as on my Instagram and other social media accounts. So I'll let you take over, Athenas. So can you tell us a little bit about what set you on this journey to moving to Canada from Mexico, and how you got the passion, or how you figure that out in your journey?
Yes, so I moved to Vancouver 10 years ago in 2010. And back on that time, I would say that I wanted to look for a better life. But on my 20s, better life, I guess it was related more to material things than money and material things. But So I moved to Vancouver, and my first job interview was in a Mexican restaurant for a waitress position. I failed the interview. And when I was on my way home, like my parents gave me 3 months of living. So I had enough money for 3 months to pay my rent and to buy groceries and stuff. And I was like, this was the first month. So on the first month, I only got one job interview for a waitress position. I screwed up. And on my way back on the SkyTrain, I was thinking, okay, so I only have two options here. Option one, I just enjoy the time that I have left here. And instead of me like looking for jobs, I just try to meet people and whatever and enjoy and know the city. Or option number two, I make a plan and take action. So I went for door number two. So I came back home. I make a list of all the places that I would think that I can have an opportunity to get a job. I didn't speak English. That's why I was looking for a position as a waitress in a Mexican restaurant. I know that you need to speak English regardless in any job here, but I was like, okay, maybe at least I understand the menu. So I make a list of all the Mexican restaurants in town, and I went every day to give out my resume. I got a job after 2 weeks of doing that. Like I was going all day long looking
Wow.
for jobs, and I got finally a position as a waitress in this Mexican restaurant, and I worked there for a year until I decided that I wanted to get an office job. Like I was very tired of working during the weekends and random hours. I was like, I want to have a 9 to 5 job. But my English wasn't the best. Still not the best, but I wasn't very like, I wouldn't, I wasn't feeling 100% good on my communication skills. So I decided to come back to school. I went back to school and studied marketing. And at the same time, I took a job in a call center calling Australia and New Zealand. It was one of the most stressful job ever because I needed to make $300 a day to pay for my seat when I didn't fully speak the language and calling Australia. It was so difficult, but I learned a lot from this job. Like I can say that this job showed me like the pressure, like how like handling pressure on the job force. So after that, I got finally a job in an office 9 to 5, and I worked there for 5 years in customer service and operations.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I decided that I was like getting all of these things. I'll say like, yeah, I was getting the salary that I wanted on that time, and I was like getting a lot of material things, but I wasn't feeling successful. Like there was something that life didn't fulfill me. I needed to do something that makes me like feel full. So in that time, I started my blog. I love 604.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that was filling up my cup. And I started liking it a lot, but it was my hobby, like my fun hobby. I was calling it, this is my, like, I have my full-time job that I don't love. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I have this hobby that makes me happy. So whenever I feel down, I will use this hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. I mean, I have read so many times this quote that says, find what you love and find a way to make it your living. But I never like I don't know why it didn't click on that time that that hobby that I was doing, like something that I was doing for fun and enjoying, can become my living.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I can resonate with you. I worked at a call center many years ago, and it is so stressful because you have to meet these quotas before you go in your day, right? You're not allowed to not miss it. You're not allowed to really miss those, that quota. And so it is really challenging, but it does teach you a lot about, how to speak and language, definitely, and how it's all interpreted very well. But and also what you say about having your 9 to 5, you don't love it, but you don't hate it, and then having your blog as your hobby, and that's exactly how I feel. Like, I don't hate my job. I actually do really like it, and I'm passionate about it, but I don't love it.
Yes.
Like you said, I don't look forward to, starting my work day, but doing this podcast, it's, yeah, like you said, it's fulfilling that cup, right? And it's figuring out, how do I make this my full-time job?
You know,
So I completely can resonate with you.
it's funny because we always heard the quote. I always think about this, like, why those things doesn't click on me on time? Because we always heard life is too short, do what you love. And
Yeah.
we know it's true. We know that's a fact, but we don't take action. And the reason why we don't take action is because we feel fear, feel of failure, feel of that we are not enough. We put all of these beliefs in our life that stop us to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, I have a lot of people ask me this question, like, how do you overcome that fear? And their answer is very simple: is action. Action is antidote of fear. If you don't take action, you're gonna stay where you are forever.
Yeah. And that's what I think, in starting this podcast, the idea is that everybody can make a very small commitment, but make that commitment every single day towards the life that you want, towards the life that you want to create, or your purpose, in life and on that journey. And so I completely agree with you that fear always holds you back. So you're never sure what's going to happen once you take that step. But for anyone that has taken that step, and I'm sure you can relate, it's always better once you take the step and you live the life that you're supposed to.
Yeah, what I tell a lot of my the people that I coach is, you don't have to know everything. Like myself, when I started my career in online marketing, I mean, I have the foundation of marketing because I studied marketing. I have a bachelor's in communications, an associate degree in PR, and I studied marketing, a 1 year diploma in marketing. But the marketing in that time, it was completely different than what it is right now. I didn't know. I was new to online marketing when I started. I started my blog, and when I found what I like, which was my blog, I started getting more informed, and I was taking action every day, like 30 minutes a day. I understand we have different, we are all in different situations, but I was in a situation that it was difficult. Like, I had 2 kids, the whole family is back in Mexico. I didn't have any help, and I have a full-time job. If I had the time to make it happen, I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah.
has the time. So I know we don't have enough time. Probably I will be in another level right now if I didn't have all of these obstacles that slow my growth. But at the same time, I have another things that are filling up my cup that creates that balance in my life. So I was taking 30 minutes a day to learn something about online marketing every single day. 30
Yeah.
minutes a day. We do have 30 minutes a day when the kids are sleeping, and it's hard. I know, like, by the end of the day, we are so tired. We are drained, but you have to do the effort. Like, if you want to have that life, you have to sacrifice some things at the beginning.
Yeah, and I've definitely heard quotes that say, you have to live for a short period of time the way other people won't live or won't want to live, in order to have the life that majority of people can't even reach to or can't get to, because they didn't take those few years to live the hard life of, doing 30 minutes a day in the evenings after you're tired and you just want to relax. And but investing in yourself and making the commitment to yourself is so important in living, your life. um you said you moved from Mexico to Canada 10 years ago. What motivated you to make that move? What was it about Canada that made you want to move here and start a life here?
Well, I came here, I don't remember the year, but I was 18. And I came as an ESL student to learn English. And then I came back to Mexico to start my career in communications. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time that I moved back to Canada, my English was all gone because there was 5 years in between since the first time I came. And I got the PR. My mom was married to a Canadian, and he was the one who gave me the PR. So
Oh,
we immigrate together, but they came back to Mexico, and I
oh,
I stayed here. Well, my brother stayed here in Canada as well, but he went to Victoria, and I decided to stay in Vancouver because I fell in love with Vancouver since the first
yeah.
time I came here. I remember when I was the first time I came to Vancouver, my school, my ESL school, was just right behind the Canada Place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the Canada Place was like my favorite. I don't know why I love that place. Like my special place.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was very sad that I was going back to Mexico, that I was looking at the water, like, you had the view to North Vancouver and whatever, and I was like, I'm gonna make a wish. And I'm gonna make a wish that I'm gonna come back to Vancouver and I'm gonna live here forever. And I'm gonna marry a guy here and I'm gonna work. Like I was like dreaming and putting this, and I'm like, I'm gonna manifest this. Like this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I went back to Mexico and I studied my degree and whatever. And 5 years after, it did happen.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, that's the power of manifestation for sure. Creating that vision for yourself and working towards it every day, I think that's really inspiring. So in your current day role, you're a mom, you still run this business. So at what point were you able to quit your 9 to 5 and say that, okay, this is now my business? Or did you do that over several years, or was it kind of like you went cold turkey, like I'm going to quit that and just focus 100% on this?
No, how it happened is I was working in the management and operations and whatever. So I heard that in the company they had this opening in marketing, and I wanted to apply. But I remember I went to my boss and I say I want to apply for the marketing position, but she told me, you know what, we need you in this department and you should focus on what you're good at.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, if you don't let me apply, I'm gonna quit.
Hmm.
But I was pregnant with my second child. We just bought a house. So I guess they didn't really think that I will do it. Like I was there for 5 years. It was like kind of my secure job. So I went on maternity leave, and when I left, I even say my goodbyes and everything. Like I'm not coming back. I knew that I will not gonna go back.
Yeah.
So I took that decision. Myself, I'm a person that when I take a decision, I make it happen. I don't look back. If I say it's not, it's not.
Hmm.
So I I told my husband, you know what? I'm not coming back to this job. And he was like, what? Like, we just bought a house. Are you sure? Like, we need to pay double daycare and things.
Yeah.
Like, my job is not going to we cannot make it with one job. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I don't care. Like, I have worked in at Starbucks, at call center. Like, I can take any job. Like, I have experience and I have the skills. I can take any job while I get the job that I want. So I sit down and make a list. Okay, what do I want? I want a job that allows me to work at whatever hour. You know what? When I was working, this is the thing. When I was, it's not that I didn't love the job that I was doing, as I said, but also my life wasn't feeling the best. Like, I was waking up at 6 a.m., not because I wanted to, but because I had to. And I had to like get dressed and drive an hour to get there. And I didn't enjoy that. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't have to do all of these things that I didn't like anymore. And I truly believe that it was not about the title anymore. Like even if they offer me more money and gave me the vice president title, I didn't care. I wasn't the point that wasn't what I was looking for.
Mhm.
I was looking, like, for me, I was looking for something like the success meaning change. Success for me was like do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do. Like that was what I was looking for. Like that freedom. Waking up in the morning and know that I have enough time for me to go for a run and meditate and have my smoothie. And that after having kids, for me, something that it was very important, it was like I want to be the mother who is outside of the classroom waiting for her. Like when the bell rings, I want to be there.
Yeah.
That was something that it was very important for me, and I make that my priority. So I said, okay, I know, like, I make up the plan. Okay, what do I want in a job? I want a freedom to work whatever I want. I want a freedom to work the hours that I can work, like wherever I can and whatever. And I want more money too. And my husband was like, okay, so how are you planning to get more money as a, like, I mean, you can apply for marketing coordinator and you are right now a supervisor, like in a super like management position in operations. The salaries, of course, in operations is going to be higher than an entry level marketing. And I say, I don't care, like I gonna find a job. So I make my mission. I was this company called me for a customer service position. I went to the interview, and while I was on the interview, I don't know how I convinced the guy to hire me in marketing. So when I was doing the interview, I started getting very excited, talking about my blog and how to bring sales and brand exposure. Like I started like very excited talking about that, and he asked me like, "How long are you gonna be working in customer service before wanting to find a job in marketing?" And then it was silence. Like I couldn't lie to him, and he's like, "You know what? My marketing person just left last week. I'm gonna give you opportunity in marketing." And then I was like, "Yay!" But when I was doing the negotiation, I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna ask him for this money, and I'm gonna ask him for all of these things that I want. I don't have anything to lose by this point.
Yeah.
And I asked for all of that, and he gave it to me.
That's incredible. And we talked about a fear at the beginning that, the fear of negotiating or the fear of just asking for what you want and even knowing what you want, right? Because sometimes you're in negotiations and you're kind of like, I don't really know what I want. Do I want this? Do I not want this? What salary do I want? What, flexibility do I want? And it's important to know yourself and know what you want in order to live a more purposeful, a more full life. And the fact that you did it and then were able to ask and then he said yes, it speaks to the power of just being able to ask and kind of get over your fears, stop limiting yourself, stop putting yourself in a bubble. And I don't know if you've read Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg yet. But her book, she talks about women in the workforce, how women are so afraid to negotiate because they know that at some point they may or may not want to take a maternity leave, right? Or they may know that they need the flexibility because they're moms, right? They need that time. So they end up discounting themselves and their service because they say, okay, I'll take a lower salary because on the other end, as long as they'll be flexible for me to attend to my kids and take maternity leaves and be able to do all these things that, as women and mothers we have to do, they end up discounting themselves. But then she talks about how men who are dads that also have to be there for their kids, that also might have to take a bit of time off to be with their kids when they're born. They have no problem negotiating at all. They'll negotiate, they'll just not discount themselves at all, even if they have the skills or not. And I think that that's so important what you said and so empowering that you just have to know what you want. You just ask for it and you can get it if you really, really want to.
I guess, I mean, I what it pushed me to ask for that salary, it was a conversation with one of my friends. She's an HR, and we were talking about, she knew I was looking for a job and whatever. And then I told her, oh, I'm scared to ask for this salary, not to this, but to another job that I was applying. And she told me, Athenas, you will be surprised of how much some companies pay. So you need to find that company that is your match, that is what is you're looking for, because it's
Yeah.
there. You have to be patient, and it's gonna come. So
Yeah.
it was, that's what it gave me the thought that this is not impossible, this is possible. So if it's possible for another people, why wouldn't it be possible for me too?
Yeah, for sure. And so how do you feel now that you've created this life that you wished existed for yourself and you've now created it? How do you feel now? Do you wake up fulfilled every day to get to work and do what you need to do? And do you feel balanced?
Yes, like my life changed a lot, because now I wake up and I feel that freedom, like I when I was talking with one of my coworkers, she asked me like, what would you do if you win the lottery right now? And I told her I will be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, in front of my laptop, working in marketing. Like, even if I have like, I don't know, $50 million, this is what excites me and makes me happy. Like, this is exactly what I will be doing. Like, probably no as a manager, but probably with my own company. And I actually, that's why I started my own business, because I was like, I really enjoy like this job. This job is giving me everything that I want. So it's
Mhm.
like having the perfect client.
Yeah.
I have the freedom and I have the money. Like, why will I give this? But at the same time, I want to have also my name
Yeah.
on the project. So that's why I have like my own business on the side, and I still working here. So if one day I change my mind and I say I just want to work from myself, or I need a plan B or whatever, I have this on my side.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, so you seem really busy, but very inspired and fulfilling. And so it's exciting to see, that you had this vision for yourself, even from moving from Mexico back to Canada after your visit, and creating this life for yourself, but also in your business. So you've taken your personal and your business life, and you've created what you want for yourself. And I think that's a very empowering. And it just speaks to the fact that you just make small commitments every single day and you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And so what advice would you give to someone that's just starting to take the steps to fulfilling their dreams and creating the life that they want, that you did?
The thing is, as I said before, I was concentrating myself on material things. Like, how, like, I want another car. I want a newer car. But why? Like, I wasn't focusing on the feeling that that car bring me.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I get that car, I was like, okay, what's next? What's the next thing that I want? So it was a circle that never end. I always wanted more and more and more. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I mean, it's kind of like encourage you to move up, but at the same time, you're never satisfied. You're never satisfied. So I will say, like, take a look inside of you, because sometimes what we trying to find is just inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take a look, what feelings are you looking to fulfill yourself? Like, for me, it was probably comfort. I wanted comfort. I wanted to feel happy. I wanted to feel empowered. Like, I was craving so much feelings that I was looking in things. And that's why I didn't want to leave my other job, because I was like, okay, it gives me the money to go, to continue getting those things. So I was lost in that circle. But what actions can you do to get those feelings every single day? So for me, the actions right now is going for a run, have the freedom to go for a run. So now that you know what feelings are you looking to fulfill, what actions can you do daily to to fill up your cup? So write down the actions. If it's going for a run, if it's doing this, if it's doing that, like baking cakes, play with makeup, like all of these things that people will find, like that they fire their souls.
Yeah.
Make a list of those things, and then after you make a list of those things, make a list of what actions can you take daily to make this happen, to make this to be able for you to integrate all of these things that makes you happy and fulfill you every single day. And take action, of course. If you
Yeah.
don't take actions, you can say, I can sit down with Tony Robbins and he can give me his whole process of how he got there. But if I never take the action, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that that's so important. For myself, I did this exercise a couple weeks ago actually, and I created like a template, of a calendar for every single day, and I said, okay, these couple hours, there's things that are non-negotiables that are named, listed, identified exactly what it is. And then there's like periods of just flex time where I say I could work on this or this or this, or just go watch a TV show if I'm feeling like that's what I want to do today. But making sure that your every single day there's a plan for your day, a purpose, and it's actionable, and that you're spending a little bit of time just doing something that's going to, take action and move you forward to what you want, like you said. Because especially in this day and age, like you said, with online and digital education and so much free education online, through tons of people that are offering valuable content, there's just so much for you to learn and so much for you to just be able to access easily, and be able to learn these things, like you said, and move forward. Like you spend half an hour every day learning about online presence, and I'm spending half an hour every day learning about, you know, like how do you build a brand? How do you do online marketing? Or how do you, the algorithm, what is that? How does that work? How do you make growth and all that? And so I think it's really important, what you said about you can study, you can read, you can learn so much, but until you apply it or make it actionable, it's very hard to see the results.
What I will suggest as well is myself, I took all the free stuff online, like YouTube videos and whatever. But when I started seeing results is when I started actually paying someone who
Yeah.
was I wanted to be, to train me, to coach me.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of things that you learn on free content, but when someone do a personalized plan for you, it's like a diet, is what I'm saying. Like every business is like a diet. There is no diet that works for everyone because everybody is different. It's the same with business. Every business is different.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have someone who can strategic make a plan for your business, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's so true. To be able to make that commitment, and just even being, starting this podcast, it was, I was kind of looking at all, like you said, like I was looking at all the free content. I knew how to start. I knew where to go with it. But then as soon as I paid for a course of how do you start a company or a brand, then that's when I felt more knowledgeable. But not only that, but I felt more courageous to actually be able to go and do it, because I felt like I had the knowledge, the blueprint of how to do it. Like somebody had helped me create that. So I felt really invigorated, and I completely agree. There's tons of free content, but paying for that, that education, that mentorship is very valuable. And the return on investment is very, very high on that as well.
I don't know why we have to. It's like a push because we pay. We're like, okay, I paid for it, so I should take action.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to say is when I was talking to you, we were talking about that how this week has been very heavy, and that sometimes there are days that we just don't feel like doing anything, and that is fine. That is also taking action. Believe it or not doing anything and just be quiet. That's someone asked me in an interview a couple days, like, what do you do when you feel lost? Like, have you ever feel lost? And I say many times. So what do I do when I feel lost? I do nothing. That's what I do. Like I concentrate on myself and my thoughts, and I like to listen and pay attention to what is happening around me and the signals that are around me.
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel overwhelmed, like today is not a day for me to be creative, it's okay. You stop and listen and learn. because that is taking action as well. You don't have to go and take this webinar or do anything. Just listen to what is around you and what is moving. And that is gonna, when you come back from that, you're gonna come up with a fresh mind and with lots of ideas.
Yeah, I completely understand. Like you said, this week was very heavy. And being able to have the freedom, and that's what you talk about, being able to have a job where you can create that freedom, right? There's not many 9 to 5 jobs where you can take the whole day off and just say you don't want to do anything because you need to take a break and, just reflect and process and debrief and understand kind of what's happening, and observe. And I think that that's really important, to be able to have the freedom to just take that time to reflect is key. And like you said, not doing anything is doing something, because you got to take care of yourself if you want to be actionable. You can't just ignore what you're feeling in that moment and take a break when you need to. So that does take me to the next question. How do you self-reflect in your day? Like, how do you actually dig deep to yourself to make sure that you check in with yourself, that you are working towards the vision you set for yourself in your personal life as well as in your business? But how do you reflect and make sure that you are still happy doing what you're doing, and that you're keeping that focus there?
I'll say, like, I have had many moments in my life. There was a moment that I was getting burned out because I really wanted to push my business. Like, I want to grow my following. I want to have all of this traffic to my blog. I want to do this. And I was working day and night. And on the side, there was issues happening as well. And I was burning out myself. So I was like, okay, this is not exactly the life that I was thinking, like the life that I was enjoying. So I reached out to a health coach. I reached out to her first for emotionally eating, because I was emotionally eating a lot during that time, and I took her program. But this person was, her her health was way more than just for emotionally eating.
Yeah.
She asked me this question: okay, can you sit down and write down how the perfect day look like for you? What's the perfect day for you? So I write down, okay, so I will wake up and I'm not gonna be on a rush. I will like go for my run, I will meditate, I will drink my smoothie, then I will like take the kids to school, I will come back and work and do this and do that. So I start writing down like how my perfect, it's not the perfect life anymore. We're going smaller this time. Instead of thinking about, oh, what is the vision, your life vision, let's talk about the day now.
Yeah.
Perfect day. So I went from trying to get all of these big, massive, I don't know, goals for life, to think about a small the day. Like, let's concentrate for today.
Mm-hmm.
How will be my perfect day? And that's what I did. Like, okay, I write it down and I'm like, okay, so I don't want to burn out. I don't want to be on a rush anymore.
Yeah.
So instead of, I know I have to exercise, because I stopped exercising during that time because I was getting so busy and so tired. Like, I work until, I don't know, 11:30 p.m. and then having to wake up and take whatever. So I was like, okay, instead of all of this, I'm just gonna wake up at 5 a.m. I'm gonna go for my run. So I'm not in a rush in the mornings that, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to. No, if I wake up at 5 in the morning, at 6 a.m., I'm already finished with my workout, and I still have plenty of time from like from 6 to 8 to have my daughter ready for school and for me to like move a little bit of job. So I started creating a schedule for me that started to work.
Yeah.
And the things start, like my mood and everything started improving by itself. So that's how I take in myself. If I start getting I know there are ups and downs. There are times, I don't know if you have this marketing campaign that you want to launch and you're working you're working very hard to get
Yeah.
this launch. There are going to be moments like that. That's okay. But you have to balance it out and know, okay, I'm going to put all of this effort for 2 days or 3 days. After that, I need to slow down. I need to take a break. I need to take breaks, because having your mental health is as important as your physical health.
Yeah.
So whatever I do, like I can have all of this success and business, but how am I gonna help others and talk about wellness and talk about this if I don't do it myself, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is so important. We need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others, because, your mental health is so, so important, as well as your physical health, like you said. And some of the things you've talked about are, what I call the non-negotiables in your day, right? So in my day, my non-negotiables is I have to journal every day, and I have to meditate every day in the morning, because it makes me feel calmer throughout the day, but also gives me a purpose for the day, or sets my intention for the day. And actually everyone that I've talked to that, is able to build this, sense of calm for themselves during the day, they all say they get up at 5 a.m. And so Jackie, who I talked to in my second episode, she said 5 a.m. is the magical hour. It's the magic. It's like where, she can hear her spirit guides the best, when she meditates. She said they all come at 5 a.m. And it's so surprising to me, because we always hear about the 5 a.m. club. We hear about, Tony Robbins and Oprah and all these really successful people. They all wake up at 5 a.m. to do the journaling, the meditating, the exercising, and the intention setting for the day. So it's very encouraging to see you also say you get up at 5 a.m. It's something I've been trying to do since I talked to Jackie 2 months ago. But it's harder for me to get up, because I'm an evening person. I'm not a morning person. So but now with my daughter, I'm trying to shift to that morning, to create that time and that space for myself to be able to be slower in the morning.
I didn't know that Oprah and Tony Robbins, they wake up at 5 a.m. I would never guess they do it. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have I can link it, or I can send it to you, but yeah, it is like they have a morning routine where they manifest what they want for the day. And so it's been really central to their happiness.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a morning person either. And I have times like during the pandemic, to be honest, I've been waking up at 6:30 or 7.
Yeah.
But because I don't have like myself, how I was handling things before is I don't like working from home. I actually really don't like working from home. So I like sometimes, like when this is snowing and whatever, and you don't want to drive, it's okay. But daily, I like to have my workspace separately from my home, because for me, home means my spa, my calm place.
Yeah.
Even though it's not calm with the 2 kids, but I feel it like my calm place. So what I was doing is I will go to the office for 4 hours and then work the rest of the day here at home. But with the pandemic, I haven't been at the office like for 3 months, I guess.
Yeah.
So I kind of plan out the day. Like this, my schedule is so messed up right now, but I still do, like I let myself sleep a little bit more this time, but I still continue with the routine of running and meditation. And I notice a huge change of my mood and my thoughts when I stop doing it.
Yeah. 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 It's surprising how much it changes, and even myself, the last 2 weeks, it's just been busier for me. So I stopped with the yoga in the mornings, because I just couldn't make that extra time for it. But I've noticed that my mood, my body, I just feel achy, more sore. I don't feel as lightweight as I felt before. And, it's surprising, how much a bit of flow or a bit of movement every morning really, really makes a difference in your life. Whatever it may be that you have going on that day, but it makes a huge difference. So I think it's amazing that you get up and go for a run every day, and we are able to meditate. I think that's, and like you said, you have 2 children, you have, a very busy life personally and in your business, but you make the time for it. So if you can, then anybody can, that, and I always say, somebody said to me once that, if you ever want something done, give it to a busy mom, because they'll get it done. And that's how I feel. I feel like once, you just kind of make this time, you just get it done to get it over with, and to move on to your next thing that you need to do, because there's always a to-do list. But being
Yeah,
able to make those accomplishments is key.
I have some people that they tell me I really want to create a blog and Instagram business, but I just have the two kids and I don't want to burn out myself. Like I just don't want to burn out myself. So I reply to them, then you don't really want it. Because if
Yeah.
you really want it, if it was something that you are super excited and passionate about, you will make it happen.
Yeah.
You will make time to do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like if I tell you, I don't know, if you really want to go and travel to Paris, and if I tell you that if you wake up every morning for the next 2 months at 5 a.m., I will give you a ticket to Paris with everything paid. Would you wake up at 5 a.m. every day? Hell yes, even if you
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. You will find the time if it's something that you really want. You will find the time, because it is. I mean, speaking for myself, who doesn't have a lot of social media experience or marketing experience, and I know nothing about marketing, but starting this podcast and even my social media and my blog, it's hard because I don't have that knowledge. But when I was making the time, evenings, during nap times or early mornings, or kind of wherever I can find a bit of time, when I did it, it was something that brought me happiness or joy to be sitting down and doing it. I looked forward to making my time doing that, and I had to sacrifice, relaxing, watching TV, or just like being able to read a book, things that I would normally be doing, because I wanted to do this. This is my goal. But, and once it kind of happens, you start to get into a rhythm and you're able to make the time for it. But you have to love it, because it can't, it is a lot of work. It's overwhelming. I'm sure you can say that with your clients too. But when you're doing it, you have to love it, because it does take a lot of time and effort. And yeah, and taking care of yourself is very important, in the whole process of it.
I literally train myself. I don't know, I take trainings like coachings or whatever once a month. And
Mm-hmm.
I attend PR events, like 1 or 2 PR events a month as well. And I literally attend these events online or took these trainings while I'm sometimes they're at the same time that it's bath time. And I will be like having Matthias in the bath time and with my laptop in the next listening.
Yeah.
So you find a way. When I'm driving to leave my kids to their schools, I'm listening to podcasts that
Mm-hmm.
are gonna that for me to get the knowledge, to get the training, for me to get updated. So
Yeah.
there's always time.
Yeah, exactly. So I really appreciate you taking your time to share your story. I think it's very, very inspiring. What I normally do at the end of every episode is I ask a question from a deck of table topics. And they're just questions that you would ask to start conversations in a group. So I'm just going to grab a card and I'll just be back one sec. There's tons of different kinds of them. I've linked them on my blog if you want to look, but I bring it out, when I have like groups of friends over, if we want to get to know each other on a deeper level or get to know each other more, I pull these out and then they all have to answer it. And it's very interesting to see what everybody thinks. But even in a group of people, when you don't know people very well, it's good to do it too, to see, break the ice.
I love it.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull a card here. Okay, let's do this one. If you only had 5 more years to live, would you change anything about your life?
I will travel more.
Travel more?
Yeah, I think that's it. I will travel more.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So I think I would love, if I could change one thing, it would be, yeah, just to be able to be more intentional about, my work, about my day, and just making sure I am able to continue to be working on this brand, but also spending more time with my daughter. I love her to death, but sometimes I just enjoy coming into our little office and being away from her for a little bit. But then I always have the mom guilt. I'm like, oh, I should be spending every minute, because she's going to grow up so quickly and I'm not going to, I'm going to miss being with her every minute. But yeah, for me, I think it's just being more intentional and taking some time for myself to just relax and reflect and, you know, be able to gather my thoughts.
You have to, because that's a way for her to teach her self-love and self-respect as well.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
always make sure that she look at me like that. Like in the morning, she knows that I grew up such in a culture, on diet culture, that, oh, like, take care of what you eat and whatever. And myself, I'm trying to teach something different for her, like showing her that taking care of herself, like exercise. And she sees me like going in a run in the morning, and she's like, oh, are you going to exercise? So I feel like people learn more from seeing other actions
Yeah.
than from words. So
Yeah, sure.
so I try to show her like that. So if she see us, that we are um, taking time for us to do what we love, is for us to showing her that that's something important for her to do in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's really great what you said about how you're trying to raise her in a different way, or not in a way, you know, that you were raised, or that in a culture that you lived in. I think it's really important because, you know, with everything going on this week, you know, with body image as well, with the diet culture as a whole, there's so much that's changing, and there's so much more acceptance now. And it's, you know, how do you teach that to your children? You know, how do you raise conscious children to be aware of these, you know, these beliefs and these new ways of thinking that should be there. But I think it's really incredible that you're doing that. That's
Thank
awesome.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. It's very inspiring, and I know it'll inspire lots of mamapreneurs and women out there that want to create the life for themselves as well.
Awesome. If anyone has any question, you can reach out to me. My Instagram is Athenas Angulo, or my website, athenasangulo.com.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I'll link all of that on our social media and our blog, like I said, and on our show notes. All right. Thank you so much, Athenas. I really appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. I appreciate you being here and giving Athenas so much love and support. And I hope that you're inspired by her story, because she took the chance to creating a life that she wanted for herself. And she is now inspiring and empowering other people to create this life for themselves as well. And as always, if you could please like, subscribe, and share our podcast with your family and your friends and your community to help us grow, we would sincerely appreciate it. And finally, as always, you have the ability to catalyze your life from ordinary to extraordinary, and it all starts with you. And you can do it. Anything you do, you can start right away. Just dream it and make it time. Just dream it and make time to make it actionable, and you can achieve it. All right, so we'll see you guys next week. Bye.